Ladies and gentlemen, kindly please take your seat. Our dignitaries have arrived. And please switch off your phones. Thank you. May I request Ambassador Rajiv K. Bhatia, Director General, Indian Council of World Affairs, to welcome His Excellency, the President of the People's Republic of China. And the Honorable Vice President of India. Sir, if I could request you to kindly give your welcome remarks. Thank you so much.
Your Excellency, Mr. Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China, Shri M. Hamid Ansari, Honorable Vice President of India and President of the Governing Council of ICWA, distinguished members of the Chinese delegation, Excellencies, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great privilege for us to extend a warm welcome to Your Excellency. The Indian Council of World Affairs feels deeply honored by Your Excellency's acceptance of our invitation to deliver a public address here in Delhi. We are confident that Your Excellency's speech today will cover a whole range of issues that are at the heart of your visit to India and the region. It will be heard with keen interest, not only in this hall, but well beyond it. I also welcome Shri M. Hamid Ansari, Vice President of the Republic of India and President of ICWA, who is presiding over this function. We are particularly delighted by the gracious presence amidst us of the First Lady, Madame Peng Liyuan. Further, we extend a friendly welcome to all members of the distinguished Chinese delegation. Your Excellency, the audience before you comprises members of Parliament, members of the Governing Council of ICWA, scholars, researchers, analysts, India's former diplomats and serving officials, members of the diplomatic corps, business leaders, members of media and civil society, and many others who have abiding interest in your great country. Without further ado, may I now invite Your Excellency to address our distinguished audience. Thank you very much.
Hamid Ansari, Vice President of India. Ambassador Bhatia, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, Namaste. A big hello to everyone. It gives me great pleasure to meet with you here at the kind invitation of the Indian Council of World Affairs. Let me begin by extending, on behalf of the government and people of China, and also in my own name, warm greetings and best wishes to the great people of India. I also wish to pay high tribute and express sincere appreciation to all those who have contributed to the friendship and cooperation between China and India over the years. My previous visit to your country back in 1997 has left me with many fond memories. At that time, I was working in a provincial government in China, and that visit has left me with very pleasant memories. Now, after a lapse of 17 years, I'm back on this vibrant land. I am once again impressed by the huge development achievements of the Indian people and your enterprising spirit. Indeed, as people often say, India's development today is truly incredible. India is an amazing and colorful country. The Indian people have nurtured an ancient civilization that has lasted thousands of years. You traveled a long and tortuous journey to gain independence and strength, and now you are embarked on a promising journey toward revitalization. Anyone who comes to India will find himself walking into a long corridor of rich history, as India enjoys a splendid past, an exhilarating present, and a spectacular future. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the Indian people are more confident in your future, while the international community has greater expectations for India. During this visit, Prime Minister Modi and I have had a comprehensive and in-depth exchange of views and reached broad consensus on bilateral ties and major issues of mutual interest. We are thinking very much along the same line on many issues. We have agreed to substantiate the strategic and cooperative partnership between our two countries and forge an even closer partnership for development. The previous generation of Chinese leader, Mr. Deng Xiaoping, once said, "A true Asian century only comes when China and India are both developed." Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru also said, "When China and India come together, it will be a big event for Asia and even the world." As the two largest countries in Asia, China and India have on our shoulders the historic responsibility and the mandate of the time to maintain peace and stability in Asia and achieve its prosperity and rejuvenation. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, living side by side, the Chinese and the Indian people conducted exchanges and mutual learning in ancient times, and we went through hardship together in modern history. Now we are pursuing the same mission of national renewal. Mahatma Gandhi once observed that China and India are fellow travelers sharing weal and woe in a common journey. Prime Minister Modi has told me that China and India are two bodies in one spirit. And he made that remarks when we attended the BRICS summit in Fortaleza, Brazil. These words reveal the kind and peace-loving nature shared by our two great civilizations and the intrinsic connection between us. Documented interactions between China and India date back over 2,000 years. One highlight is Buddhist exchanges. As Buddhism was introduced eastward to China from its cradle in India, and this was a big episode in China-India exchanges. In 67 AD, Kasyapa Matanga and Dhammarasika, the two eminent monks from India, arrived in Luoyang, China. There they translated the Sutra of 42 chapters, the first Chinese translation of Buddhist sculptures. We have stories of the white horse carrying Buddhist sculptures to China and monk Xuanzang's pilgrimage to the West. Talking about Buddhism, a great Chinese master named Ji Xianlin. In his early days, he learned Sanskrit language. He said, I must learn Buddhism, and I must learn the Buddhism that started in India before I can really learn the Buddhism in China. Because Buddhism is really a part of the Chinese civilization. The great Chinese navigator Zheng He visited India 6 times and brought with him the neighborly friendship from China. Indian dance, astronomy, calendar, literature, architecture, and sugar-making techniques were introduced to China, while Chinese paper-making, silk, porcelain, tea, and music were spread to India. All these bear witness to a long-running history of exchanges and mutual learning between our two peoples. Since modern times, our two peoples have sympathized with and supported each other in our respective struggle for national independence and liberation. Together, we brought about an awakening in Asia. India lent its support to China's anti-opium campaign, while China rooted for India's independence movement. During the Chinese People's War against Japanese aggression, the Indian medical team in China has left behind many touching stories. Dr. Dwarkanath Kotnis, one outstanding representative of this medical team, was laid to rest in China. The Chinese people shall always cherish the memory of this man of great virtue. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to meet with his families. The establishment of diplomatic ties in 1950 opened a new chapter in our bilateral relations. India was among the first group of countries to recognize New China and to call for the restoration of China's lawful seat in the United Nations. China and India, together with Myanmar, initiated Panchashila, the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, an innovation in international relations, and a remarkable contribution of Oriental wisdom to modern civilization. In Beijing, in June this year, we held the commemoration marking the 60th anniversary of the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence. Vice President Ansari attended the commemoration on behalf of the Indian government. We met during that meeting and we delivered speeches at the conference. Since the turn of the century, China and India have forged a strategic and cooperative partnership for peace and prosperity, steering the bilateral relations into a fast track of growth. In the past decade and more, two-way trade has increased by more than 20 times, and mutual visits have almost tripled. Our exchanges and cooperation have seen an unprecedented expansion in breadth and depth. It is fair to say that our bilateral ties are now at a new starting point. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, we live in an era when the international landscape is undergoing profound and unprecedented changes. One major trend is Asia's rising status in the global configuration. China and India, as two major players in the shaping of a multipolar world, and two vital forces driving Asian and global economic growth, have once again been brought to the forefront of the times. China-India relations have gone way beyond the bilateral scope and assumed broad regional and global significance. As such, when China and India join hands in cooperation, it will benefit not only the two countries, but also the entire Asia and the world at large. It is to this end that I suggest that China and India become closer partners for development, cooperative partners for growth, and global partners for strategic coordination. First, China and India, our two countries, should become closer partners for development who will jointly pursue our respective national renewal. Development is the top strategic goal shared by the two countries. Nothing is more imperative than to deliver a more comfortable, more secure, and happier life for our peoples. For that, we both need to focus on development, share experience, and deepen mutually beneficial cooperation so as to achieve peaceful, cooperative, and inclusive development for our two countries. Known respectively as the factory and office of the world, China and India need to enhance cooperation to tap into our mutually complementary advantages. China's westward opening up should be geared to dovetail with India's Look East policy, with a view to shaping the world's most competitive production bases, most attractive consumer markets, and most powerful growth engines. Our two countries also need to expand cooperation in investment, finance, and other areas and pursue practical cooperation across the board. Amity between the people holds the key to state relations. There are striking similarities between the Chinese Tai Chi and India's yoga, and between the traditional Chinese medicine and India's Ayurveda. Profound resemblance can also be found in the philosophies that have guided the lives of the two peoples throughout millennia. During this visit of mine, our two sides formulated the China-India Cultural Exchange Program with the purpose of reviving our ancient cultures and bringing back the heyday of exchanges and mutual learning between the Chinese and Indian civilizations. Our two sides have agreed to expand bilateral exchanges and cooperation in youth, culture, education, tourism, religion, media, radio, television, film, and other areas, including exchanges at subnational levels. The Chinese side has decided to open another route via Nadula Pass for Indian pilgrims to pay homage to Mount Kailash and Mansarovar in Tibet, China. I have had a keen interest in Indian civilization in childhood. The fascinating history of India had me deeply captivated when I read books about the Ganges civilization, about Veda culture, the Maurya dynasty, Kushan dynasty, Gupta dynasty, and Mughal Empire. In particular, I read a lot about the colonial history of India when the Indian people fought arduously for national independence. And also when Mahatma Gandhi lived and conceived his ideas, by which I was hoping to get the insights into the evolution and character making of this great nation. This time, as I had always wanted to, I visited the Gujarat state and I paid a visit to ashram and the museum. And this morning, I paid tribute at the Rashgant. I hope that by doing so, we can pay our tribute and show our respect. I have read Tagore's poetry, such as Gitanjali, Stray Bird, Gardener, and Crescent Moon. They have been published in China, and I have read a lot of them, intensively sometimes, although translation may render something that is not quite consistent with the original language. But still, we can experience the beauty of such poems, many lines of which remain fresh in my mind. He wrote, "If you shared tears when you missed the sun, you also miss the tears. How beautiful that is." And there are also lines such as, "We come nearest to the great when we are great in humility. Wrong cannot afford defeat, but right can. We read the world wrong and say that it deceives us. Let life be beautiful like summer flowers and death like autumn leaves," etc. Such beautiful and philosophical lines have inspired me deeply in my outlook on life, and I believe that many people in China share the same feeling. Second, China and India, our two countries, should become cooperative partners for growth and jointly promote Asia's prosperity and revitalization. China and India should aim to become the express trains to bring along the rest of the region in common development. We need to foster a regional consensus on cooperation and work with relevant countries to step up economic integration and connectivity in the region, speed up the building of the Bangladesh, China, India, Myanmar economic corridor, and complete at an early date negotiations on the regional comprehensive economic partnership. We need to become the twin anchors of regional peace, commit ourselves to building an Asia-Pacific security and cooperative architecture that is open, transparent, equal-footed, and inclusive, and achieve common, comprehensive, cooperative, and sustainable security in the region.
Third, China and India should become global partners for strategic coordination and work for a more just and equitable international order. At present, peace, development, and win-win cooperation are a growing trend of our times. On the other hand, inequality and unfairness still widely exist in international relations. Global challenges keep emerging. So do conflicts and local wars in various regions. To uphold world peace and promote common development remains a daunting task. In global affairs, China and India face similar challenges, share extensive common interests, and shoulder important responsibilities. China and India have a combined population of over 2.5 billion. If we speak with one voice, the whole world will listen. And if we join hands, the whole world will pay attention. China and India ought to enhance strategic coordination in global affairs, carry forward the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence, and uphold sovereign equality, justice, and common security. We should commit ourselves to common development, win-win cooperation, inclusiveness, and mutual learning, and safeguard the shared interests of our 2 countries and the developing world. Through our own development, we should make greater contribution to world economic growth and global governance, and provide solutions that speak for the interests of developing countries on such global issues as climate change, food security, energy security, and cyber security. China is ready to strengthen strategic coordination with India in multilateral mechanisms such as China-Russia-India trilateral meetings, the BRICS, the G20, and the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. China supports India in its aspiration to play a bigger role in the United Nations, including in the Security Council. This being said, neighbors may sometimes encounter problems. What is important is for China and India to face the boundary question and seek fair, reasonable, and mutually acceptable solutions at an early date through peaceful and friendly consultation. In the meantime, we must not focus our attention only on our differences and forget about our friendship and cooperation. Still less should we allow the differences to stand in the way of our development and interfere with the overall growth of bilateral relations. I am confident that as 2 time-honored civilizations, China and India have the ability and wisdom to embark on a path of good neighborliness between 2 major countries. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, many Indian friends take great interest in China's development and wish China even bigger progress. Thanks to the reform and opening up program of the past 30 years and more, China has made remarkable achievements in economic and social development. Our people's life has kept improving, and the world has benefited from China's development. However, we have also taken note of the claim by some that a stronger China is bound to follow the beaten path to seek hegemony and pose a so-called threat to other countries. Here, I wish to make it clear that China will be firmly committed to the path of peaceful development. The Chinese nation has always been a peace-loving nation. The pursuit of peace, amity, and harmony is an integral part of the Chinese character. China has all along believed that the strong should not oppress the weak and the rich should not bully the poor. Even in ancient times, China already came to the conclusion that a warlike state, however big it may be, will eventually perish. Peace is of paramount importance. Seeking harmony without uniformity, replacing weapons of war with jade and silk, and achieving universal peace, axioms like these have been passed down in China from generation to generation. Historically, China was for a long time a great power in the world, but what it brought to the world were the idea of peace and abundant products like silk, tea, and porcelain. The Chinese concepts of universal peace and universal love, and the Indian concepts of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and Ahimsa are very much alike. Both China and India consider harmony as the way toward a better future for the world, and hope that all countries will live in harmony and peace. The Chinese nation has always made learning a priority, as evidenced by famous Chinese sayings such as, "Only by learning extensively and accumulating profound knowledge can one be ready to achieve something." This is the word by the poet Su Dongpo. When walking in the company of two other men, there are bound to be things I can learn from them. I will absorb the good qualities and avoid the shortcomings. And these were the words by the Confucius. And one needs to study what is good, constantly inquire about it, carefully reflect on it, clearly distinguish it, and earnestly practice it. And these are the words from the Chinese classics. It is such a learning spirit, featuring humility and inclusiveness, that has enabled the Chinese nation to make progress for thousands of years. I have often emphasized that China's goal is to be a great learning nation. We must avoid complacency and self-importance. We must always be modest and humble, study hard, and keep improving ourselves. The Chinese nation has always valued good neighborliness. Keeping its word and promoting harmony among all nations have always been the guiding principles of China's foreign policy. China sees its neighborhood as the key to its well-being and the foundation of its development and prosperity. We have proposed the principles of amity, sincerity, mutual benefit, and inclusiveness as guidelines of our neighborhood diplomacy. The very purpose is to express our genuine desire to live in harmony with our neighbors and concentrate on common development. We want to work together with our neighbors to make the pie of cooperation even bigger so that we can all share the fruits of development. China, a country with over 1.3 billion people, has managed to complete in just several decades the journey of development which took developed countries several centuries. This is a historic achievement. But we are also soberly aware of the fact that China remains the biggest developing country in the world and is still at the primary stage of socialism. It is true that its economic aggregate is big, but when divided by 1.3 billion, its per capita GDP only ranks around the 80th place in the world. It takes long and arduous work to ensure over 1.3 billion people a better life. For quite some time to come, China will focus on economic development, and on that basis, work to promote social progress across the board. China has set a development goal for itself, that is, to double 2010 GDP and per capita urban and rural incomes, and complete the building of a moderately prosperous society by 2020, and to build China into a modern, socialist country that is prosperous, democratic, culturally advanced, and harmonious by the middle of this century. We have identified this goal as the Chinese dream of great national renewal. To realize this Chinese dream, China needs a long-term, peaceful, and stable external environment. Only the path of peaceful development can lead China to attaining its development goal. After suffering from the pain of over 100 years of incessant wars in modern times, the Chinese people hate to see such tragic experience repeat anywhere in the world. As the ancient Chinese philosophy teaches us, do not do unto others what you do not want them to do unto you. China cherishes and loves peace, and it is firm in its resolve to maintain peace. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, the people in South Asia, from Nepal to Maldives and from Afghanistan to Bangladesh, have yearned for a better life and pursued national revitalization. This has promised a bright future for the development of South Asia. I am convinced that South Asia, a subcontinent that holds infinite promise and potential, will become a new pole of growth in Asia and beyond. A South Asia that enjoys peace, stability, development, and prosperity serves the interests of countries and people in the region and of China as well. China wants to live in harmony with all countries in the region and contribute its share to the development of the region. The Belt and Road initiatives that China has put forward are precisely aimed at strengthening connectivity among countries along the routes of the traditional land and maritime Silk Roads, with a view to achieving common prosperity, complementarity in trade, and closer people-to-people ties. China hopes that propelled by the two wings of the Belt and the Road, its economy will take off together with those of South Asian countries. China and countries in South Asia are important partners for cooperation. Our cooperation, like a massive treasure long awaited to be unearthed, promises great prospects for all of us. In the next 5 years, China will work with South Asian countries to increase the bilateral trade to $150 billion and raise China's investment in South Asia to $30 billion and provide $20 billion in concessional facilities to South Asia. China will expand people-to-people and cultural exchanges with South Asia. It plans to offer 10,000 scholarships, training opportunities for 5,000 people, and an exchange and training program for 5,000 youth, and train 5,000 Chinese language teachers for South Asia in the next 5 years. China will work with countries of South Asia to implement the China-South Asia Partnership Initiative for Science and Technology, give full play to the role of China-South Asia Expo, and build new platforms for mutually beneficial cooperation. China is the biggest neighbor of South Asia, while India is the largest country in South Asia. China is ready to work together with India and make greater contribution to the development of the region, so that the 3 billion people living on both sides across the Himalayas will enjoy peace, friendship, stability, and prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, 90 years ago, Rabindranath Tagore, the great Indian poet admired by the Chinese people, visited China and was warmly received there. Upon setting foot on China's soil, Tagore said, "I don't know why, but coming to China is like coming home." Upon leaving China, he said, quite sadly, "My heart stays." Today, I see among the audience young people from both China and India. The youth represent the future of our two countries and the hope of Asia and the world. The youth have feelings of joy and sorrow from their everyday life, but they never stop pursuing their ideals with conviction and devotion. I hope that all of you will draw wisdom and inspiration from the ancient Chinese and Indian civilizations and march forward in the pursuit of truth. I hope that you will enhance heart-to-heart communication and that your young hearts will stay in China and in India. Let us work together with one mind and usher in a bright future. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, in conclusion, I would like to share with you a Chinese saying: "The man of virtue, while establishing himself and pursuing success, also works to establish others and enable them to succeed as well." In pursuing its own development, China sincerely hopes to see a prosperous and strong India and looks forward to making progress together with India. The Chinese people will always progress together with the Indian people on the path of development and revitalization. I believe that our two peoples, who once left indelible impact on the development of human civilization, will make new and greater contribution to Asia and the world as a whole. Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Your Excellency,
阁
Mr.
下
President,
尊敬的主席，
Honorable Vice President, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I now propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the host institution and all those present here today. Excellency, we express our gratitude to you for finding time in your extremely busy schedule to deliver this keynote address. Your statement demonstrates the high importance Your Excellency attaches to good communication between leaders and people. This event is a key highlight of the ongoing celebrations of 2014 as the year of India-China friendly relations and exchanges. We are thankful to Honorable Vice President for presiding over this function. His recent visit to the People's Republic of China played a significant role in widening mutual understanding and deepening our age-old relationship. Our warm thanks go to all the institutions and individuals who helped us to organize this special event. In particular, I wish to express our sincere appreciation to His Excellency Mr. Liu Chang, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China, and his team for their seamless collaboration with us. Also, may I sincerely thank all the members of the distinguished audience. ICWA is pleased to serve as an important channel for track 2 dialogue between our two nations. In recent years, we have expanded our ties with China's strategic community. We will be receiving again shortly a delegation of Chinese scholars and experts for an in-depth dialogue here in Delhi. Your Excellency's comprehensive address today will help us to strengthen our dialogue and research activities in the future. Your Excellency, we warmly thank you once again for being with us and for sharing your profound thoughts with us. Thank you very much for your attention.